Hello everyone and welcome to day 7 of this web development course. Last time we started making our 9x9 grids by adding a bunch of classes and adding our images and text. Today we'll be adding styles to that so we can make our website presentable and look more like this website we have right here. So let's start off by opening up Visual Studio Code and opening up our index and styles files. Okay, so now that we have our styles file open, let's go ahead and learn something about comments. These are pretty simple. You can add comments in your code by simply typing backslash and then an asterisk and then an asterisk and then a backslash, and then you have basically, you can type whatever you want here and it won't affect your code. It's just a comment there. So these are helpful when you're writing a lot of code and you need to decipher, or other people need to decipher what your code actually means. So let's just add some comments to our styles text so we would just know what's going on. So we know that we have different types of styles here. So let's go ahead and type in grid styles, because that would represent everything underneath it is going to be part of the styles for the grid we have. And then up here, let's call these master styles, because these are the styles that are going to be applied to everything, which are the body and the container styles, because those are applied to our entire website. And then down here, let's say navigation bar styles. So that just adds some more organization to our entire website. No one can see this in the code or on your website, just for yourself. So, or they can see it in your code, they can't see it on your website. So that's good. Okay, let's go ahead and start adding some grid styles so we can make our website. Let's actually pull up our website first. I always forget to do that. So let's go ahead and go to our website right here and open up our index file. So we have this. So this is how it looks right now. So our goal is to get 3 on each column, basically. So if we see right here, we have the background and we have a 3x3 grid. Right now it's a 1x9 or a 9x1. So we have to fix that. We have to make our background show up and have this cool animation thing right here. Change the color of the text. There's just a lot of things we need to do. Adjust the size, but we're gonna do that all right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and close that and full screen this right here. Okay, so let's start by adding a style to our items wrapper list, their class. So you see we have our content wrapper, then our items wrapper. We're gonna be adding a small style to our content wrapper later, but let's go ahead and just add our first style to our grid items wrapper. Make sure that you have that S in there, because there's also a item wrapper we have individually. So let's go ahead and type in .grid items wrapper, and we're gonna say display. It's gonna be a grid display, just as we did up here. Right here we said it was a display grid, and then we had these template columns. We're gonna have the same thing over here, but instead of just having one FR, we're gonna have 3 of them. I'll show you what that means in a second. So let's type in grid template columns, and we're gonna say 1 FR, and we'll do that 2 more times. So what this is creating is, it's creating 3 columns. So it'll be 1 FR, 2 FR, 3 FR. So 1 1 1. Let's go ahead and save that and see how this looks. So you see that we have this now divided into a 9 or a 3x3 grid. So that is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and add some more styles. Now we're done with the items wrapper. Let's move on to the item wrapper. And if we go ahead and look here, that is this class right here, and we have 9 of them because we have 9 separate pictures and things we want to add. So let's go ahead and call this. So what we're basically doing is we are doing some formatting here. We're saying that the position is relative. This means that one thing can go on top of the other. And then let's move on to our background image. So we're gonna say grid background image. So that is this thing right here. We have the class we created. So let's go ahead, and inside that we're gonna be setting the height and width and some other things for this. So we're gonna say the height, you can change this, but depending on how you want your website to look, but I'm gonna say 350 pixels, and then the width is gonna be 100%. So it's gonna adjust the width according to the amount of pixels. So if it was say 1:1 ratio, which is a square, it would set the width to 350 pixels as well, or if this was 200, it would set the width to 200 pixels as well. So let's go ahead and also say our background size is gonna cover everything. And then we're gonna say the background position is gonna be in the center, because we don't want it off to the side anywhere. So we're gonna say center. And we also don't want the background to repeat anywhere. So we're just gonna say background repeat, and we're gonna say no repeat. So go ahead and save that, and let's go ahead and take a look at how our website looks now. So we have our background showing up now because of these styles we just added right here. And we also defined the height and width, and we can see that right here. Now what we want to do is get these pictures over here on top of it, and maybe make these a little bit smaller, and get this text on here as well. So we are getting a little closer to what we want over here. So let's go ahead and say, let's go ahead and add more styles for our image text wrapper now. So that is this right here. So this class all the way over here, it's basically our logo and our text, which is the coming soon text. So we're gonna add some styles to that. So we're gonna make our position absolute as well, so we can stack them. And we're gonna say the top is 0, so we don't have any space. Top, and we're gonna say 0. Yeah, I forgot the semicolon here, so that was the error that was showing up. That's why this was in blue. So make sure you always have your semicolons at the end right here. And then we're gonna be adding a flexbox display here, just as we did in the beginning when we created our navigation bar. And then we're gonna say flex direction. So what this is basically saying, a column, and what this is saying is, since if we go right here, we say that we had template columns, which is, we have 3 columns right here. And what this is saying is to have our flexbox recognize that these are in columns. And let's also have our justify content here. We did last time we did justify content. Let's do what we said. We said something like fill. Yeah, we said space between. So that means we're gonna take all the space out, but we want these to be perfectly in the center. So we're gonna say justify content. We're gonna say center here. And then we're gonna say align items as well, because we want to align all of our text and our pictures. We're gonna call this center as well, because we just want everything to be in the center. We're also gonna set the height to 100% to make sure we don't have any weird little things that we have to change, kind of, so it's not changing the ratio of the picture of the text. Also add some text align here. And we're gonna say this is also gonna be in the center, because we just want everything to be in the center. And then we're gonna add some padding like we did last time when making our navigation bar. And this time we have to add a left and a right one. I'm gonna say 100 pixels for both of them. And padding right. And I'm gonna say 100 pixels here. So that was a lot of styles. Let's see what all of those did. Let's go ahead and hit Command R. And now you see we have our pictures on top here. And that is great. You see that these are way too big right now, but we will fix that later. So that is pretty good. We also need to change the text of the color of our text, because we can't really see this black color on top of a black background image. So go ahead and add some more styles now. So we're gonna add a logo wrapper style now. Or I don't think we called this logo wrapper. Let's check what we called it. Oh, we did call it logo wrapper. So it's this class right here, which contains only our image. So we're gonna say logo wrapper. And since we only want to apply these styles to the image, we're gonna say image. And now we're gonna add our width. What we want to do is make this a little bit smaller. So let's say around 50%. We'll see how that looks. And we're also gonna add a margin to it on the bottom, because we want some space between it and the text. We don't want it to be exactly on the bottom. So we're gonna say margin bottom, and we're gonna say, let's say 20 pixels. Let's see how that looks. Go ahead and hit save. And now you see all of this is perfect in the center. We have this small, and it actually looks a little too small. So let's go ahead and go ahead and adjust that. Let's try out 75%. See how that looks. And that looks pretty good. Let's see. Yeah, it's pretty close to what we have. You can also make it a little bigger if you want, because I still think it's a little too small. I'm gonna say 85%. And yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, So let's go ahead and move on to our text on the bottom right here. And to do that, let's go ahead and check out what we need to say. We're gonna make another tree sorts right now. So we're gonna go to our image text wrapper, and then we're gonna go to our subtitle. So let's go ahead and practice some more trees as we did in a few classes ago. We did this. So let's go ahead and say image text and wrapper. And we're just gonna type in dot subtitle because we want to apply these styles to the subtitle. And then here what we're going to do is we're going to add some transitions. This is what we did, almost exactly what we did when we made our navigation bar, when we made this transition right here, when it went from gray to black. But instead what we want to do here is we want it to go from transparent, so we can't see the text, to when we hover over it, it shows a blue text. So let's do that. So let's say transition, and we want a 1 second transition. You can change the time if you want. You could say 0.5, 0.1. You can make it a little longer, maybe you can say 1.5 seconds. Let's also add some font weight, because if you see the font is really thin here, and if we go to our final website, it's pretty thick. So let's go ahead and say, let's call it 500. And then the color obviously has to be transparent, so we don't see it when we are not hovering over it. And we're gonna do the same thing we did last time. We're gonna copy this, and we're gonna make a hover class. So we're gonna say when we are hovering over the image text wrapper, which includes this background, or basically everything here, that because we don't want the text to show up only when we're hovering over the text over here. We want it to show up when we're hovering over this entire box. So we're gonna say image text wrapper and hover, and then we have our dot subtitle there. And we're gonna keep our font weight at 500, and we're gonna remove this transition right here because we already have it in our previous one. And we're gonna say the color is gonna be light sea green. So this is where you can choose your color. I like mine to be a light blue, so I'm gonna say light sea green. So go ahead and save. That's how it looks. So as you see, it has now gone because it's transparent, but when we hover over it, the text shows up. So we have that cool animation now. We just have to add our blur thing, or our darken thing right here. So this looks pretty cool. If we hover over it, we see the coming soon, and when we hover off, or when we go off it, it's gone. So yeah, our website is really coming together now. Okay, so let's go ahead and add one last style, or I think two last styles. Sorry about that. Okay. So what we're going to do now is add a style to our content wrapper. So let's go ahead and go up here because content wrapper is our largest class. So let's say content wrapper. And we're going to add some margins here because we see that there is a little bit of white sticking out, and we really don't want that. So we're going to say margin, and let's call this -5 pixels. And then let's see how that looks. So it has gone a little bit farther out, but we still see there's a little bit of white there. So let's change that to 10. Just experiment around a little bit, see how it works. And yeah, that looks perfect. So it fills all the sides, and this looks pretty damn good. Okay, so let's add one last style now, and this is not related to, actually it is related to our grid, but it won't directly impact anything that it has right now. So we're gonna create something new here. We're gonna call this is basically a new class. I'm going to say image darken. We will be calling this in JavaScript, so this has nothing to do with HTML or CSS. It is a part of CSS code, but it won't directly impact anything we have right now. Let's say image darken. We're going to add a transition here. And I'm going to say it's going to be 1 second, just like all of our other transitions. So we just want it to be a little consistent. I'm going to say filter. And what this filter is going to do is going to change the brightness, because if we go here, we see that the brightness drops of the picture. We can still see the picture, it's just really dark to make the text and the image here pop out. So we're going to say brightness, and we're set to, let's say 10%. So it'll go to 10% brightness. And then we're going to add, yeah, that's it. So that is all the styles we need for CSS. So that is it for today. Today we finished our styles for our homepage. Next time we just need to add a few more for our about page, but excluding that, we are done with CSS. Next time we'll be creating our about page and adding some our transitions to JavaScript, which will make our image darken. And it's pretty complicated, and you may not understand everything about it. So if you have any questions, remember you can always contact me at mehulcm17@gmail.com. That's MEHULCM17@gmail.com. And that is it. Our website is looking pretty good right now. And if you guys have any concern, remember you can always contact me. And yeah, that's it. Bye.